Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Stock Market Today. It's Coram and Justin Nielsen here with a breakdown of the action in today's session, Monday, September 30th, and seeing green for the major indexes for the last day of September, Justin.
Yeah, that's certainly not the way it was looking for most of the day, as we, had a lot of time spent in the red, especially after Powell's speech. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But we'll also cover some stocks today, including insurance, Aflac, ISRG in the medical space, and let's not forget big tech still may be out there, Oracle.
Yeah, we'll check in on that as well. But first, let's take a look at the major indexes, starting with the NASDAQ, up 0.4% on the day. A nice little upside reversal here at a key level. The S&P 500 also up 0.4% on the day, reversing higher. And the Russell 2000 small caps up about 0.2% by session's close, reversing higher here too. A little bit of a theme in this recovery. The Dow even closing off lows and ever so slightly in positive territory. So let's start with the NASDAQ because its reversal came, as I mentioned, at a key round number and short-term moving average.
Yeah, so I mean, right there at 18,000, the Nasdaq Composite got support. That's exactly where we want to see it. We want to see it kind of stay above that previous high at 18,017, and it did that. The 10-day moving average line. That's not as important. We don't usually hold it to that high a standard, but since it's matching that level right now, that's kind of
We'll
where I
take
wanted
it.
to be. Well, I'm sorry, what was that?
I said we'll take it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So look, as you mentioned, it's the end of the month, end of the quarter. We do sometimes see some window dressing at the end of the day, and maybe that's what was going on a little bit because, again, we really didn't have gains for most of the day, and then I want to say in like the last 15
Oh, look at
minutes, half
that.
hour, it was kind of like, oh, here we go. Um, uh, pushed it to some solid gains. That's definitely not the way the indexes looked for most of the day. In terms of some of the strength, where the strength was, if we look at um, the sector spider ETFs, XLRE real estate that was up at the top. XLE the energy was up. In second place with XLB healthcare, not too far behind in third. Down at the bottom, you had XLB, XLY, XLP, and XLK, the tech, just barely eking out a gain as well.
Yes. Well, thanks for breaking all of that down. Let's also check in on China. Look at that. We saw China stocks starting out the week again on a tear with some eye popping gains. More news related to stimulus measures. And this was already after a week of just a jaw dropping performance. But then look at what happens here today, basically closing flat, giving back a huge gain. This KWEB China Internet ETF, we look at it for a proxy for what's going on overseas there, Justin. And this shows the danger of chasing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, don't fight, I guess, the Chinese.
Justin is freezing up a little bit. So we're gonna get his connection back. But yeah, I guess don't fight the China, don't fight the Fed in the US, and don't fight China stimulus abroad. Okay, let's see. Next on the list, we have chip stocks we want to check in on. Here's a look at SMH down on the day by about 0.9%, but coming off lows, finding support at some short-term levels here. So underperforming today, but we have seen chip stocks outperforming since earlier in September. So taking a little bit of a break today. And elsewhere, we want to check in on KIE. We're going to be taking a look at an insurance stock, Aflac, here in a little bit. But here's a look at the group with the KIE S&P Insurance ETF reversing higher, some nice tight action lately. So if you look back to July, this is a group that has been performing very, very well. And next on the list, let's check out XHB. This is the home builders. Nice tight action after a breakout, and we'll get Justin back shortly when we can. But you're stuck with me for now. But Mike, if we could make the chart bigger, that would be great. And let's also check out FNGS. This is the FNGS. This is basically the Magnificent Seven, the FANG stocks. We have a cup with handle that's still forming here and some tight action just coiling up. Is this going to break out? Are we going to hit resistance at that handle area? Are the big tech stocks going to be underperforming from here while the money rotates elsewhere? We will have to see what happens. And we're still getting Justin up and running here soon. But next, let's take a look at AFL, which is Aflac. Justin, do we have you?
You do. I don't know what happened. It just kicked me out and then said it couldn't authenticate me. And I feel like I was being authentic. I'm not sure why, it said that. But yeah, let's so insurance was one of the ones that
Mhm.
is still holding up very well. And there weren't really many breakouts today, but Aflac, you could kind of call this a little shelf that it came out of. And again, it's not that it's alone in this space. Oscar was one that we were also looking at in this same group. It didn't close quite as well. So that's why I went with Aflac today. But look, the insurance space is still looking very strong. KIE is an insurance ETF. I do have a position in that myself. That's kind of my exposure. You see nice support of the 21-day moving average line for that one, and a decent close. But I think Aflac for the day really took it. And again, had a nice strong close with some volume behind it.
Mhm. So, I mean, we typically don't say base is this short and stubby, like a nothing base.
Short
Um,
and stubby, right, is not
yeah.
not the attractive quality that you want from your stocks. But for a swing trade, sometimes we will kind of look at some of these cheating areas. I would also say that as an ad,
Mhm.
that would be a little bit more attractive, because you're
Right.
right. We do want to kind of stick with the rules and go with bases. But what I like about this is not only did it have kind of a little shelf there, but also very tight action, and
Yes.
that's a really good telltale sign. With it didn't even touch the 10-week moving average line in this case. So really good support there.
Yeah, I mean, a very orderly, blue volume spikes is what we're seeing. So yeah, it short and stubby. It's cute, it's a cute little. It's not like a ugly short and stubby. It's cute little
Okay.
stubby base, But just checking there on your thoughts on that, and totally
I
agree.
love your euphemisms. You're not even going to hurt the feelings of stocks.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Okay, well, let's dissect intuitive surgical here, Justin. A nice upside reversal. I know this is one you and the team were watching very closely, closing up 2.5% on the day, above average volume here. Super nice, tight action. Going to the weekly chart here, this one also touched the 10-week line, and it's been going sideways a little bit longer. We don't have pattern recognition picking up a base here, but it is a bounce off of the 10-week line. And I want to go to the intraday chart here. Let's go to
Mhm.
maybe a 30-minute, because again, I know you and the team watching this very closely, and there was a pretty clear level of resistance that ISRG got above at the end of the day, 490.
Yeah. And I feel like it had a little bit of a change in character too, because what we were seeing, and it's perfect that you brought up the intraday chart for this. We were seeing a lot of these gains happening and it would lose them. Gains happening at the beginning of the day and then it would lose them. But today it had gains built on them and then closed even stronger as we were heading into the close. So
Mhm.
that certainly was a character change. I was kind of watching it for a good portion of the day, and it was at the end of the day that we did put this on Swing Trader. And so, as you mentioned, pattern recognition didn't pick it up as a flat base, but a lot of times, that can happen because you've got some highs like in the middle. So you see how it got up to 496.18. Well, I mean, it just barely got in there. And so a lot of times we did see that historically, where if you were in like this 1% range, a little tolerance area, that it really didn't count as a breakout. So you really do kind of have a flat base look there. Now, this is a little bit of an early entry that we did. And that's why we went with a smaller position, with the idea that if it really kind of gets up to 500 and through there, maybe we can add on to this.
Okay. We'll keep a watch on 500. Next stop, hopefully, for this one. And let's go to Oracle. So if everyone out there remembers, a couple weeks back, the database software giant reported a nice earnings report with a great reaction, gapping up out of a base. The gain that day, 11%, and cleared a long area here, Justin. It kept running from there, but it did eventually pause, and now it's clearing the tight area that formed after that pause and that earnings gap run up.
Yeah, so there's a tight area here, but let's not forget, and it looks like it's blocked a little bit on the chart because of that that note there, the 16%. But yeah, there is still a one. Yeah, there we go, 173.99. That's where it got kind of turned away, and closed a little poorly. But then the next day, it kind of came up to that same level. So I think that's an important area to be having your eye on. But again, this could be an early entry. As you said, it cleared that tight area, got support at the 10-day moving average line, the 10-day, not the 10-week. And it looks like it's, you had such a big gain and it just wasn't willing to give any of it up after that earnings report. So I really like when stocks are able to hold tight after that. It really kind of shows power. And again, that folks are comfortable with the valuation at that higher level. And look, Oracle, I mean, if you go to a monthly chart on this one, Oracle just seemed like it wasn't doing much of anything. You see this really flat relative strength, or even downtrending relative strength for so long, but it really is poking up in a much bigger way now. So a lot of times, if a company can kind of reinvent itself a little bit, take advantage of a new condition in the industry, that can really kind of change things for the company. And so Oracle is one of the stocks I've been watching here lately, because it seems like maybe its fortunes are about to change.
Yeah, love that. Love looking at the monthly chart and seeing how the relative strength line is looking. And also on the weekly chart here, Justin, I mean, talking about character changes, I think it looks like Oracle is seeing a character change here too. Just choppy, kind of sloppy base building. Every time it has a big bar, it gives it up. Or at least, it goes sideways and then down. It looks a lot more powerful here. And it does look like the fundamentals are improving as well alongside that.
Now it is early. We could get that same thing where, okay, you got the big move and then it just kind of doesn't go anywhere. So for that reason, if you are going to do anything with it, I would kind of keep my stop a little bit small on this one, a little bit tight.
Right.
But again, if this is a change of character, again, with that relative strength improving, you could easily see this potentially run. And so that's what I'm looking for. So a very small risk on the downside, but a potentially much larger return on the upside.
Yeah. And also look at how many blue weeks here in a row. At first, I was just looking, well, after the big bar. Now we're potentially working on our third blue week, but even in the lead up to that. So seeing a lot more up days, up weeks, and the volume behind it, Justin, along with that relative strength.
Yeah. So an overall good picture. And again, there are some of these, we've been going back and forth a lot with, the Mag 7 and some of these stocks that have been just doing so phenomenal the last couple of years. And then it seems like they take a break. RSP, has been looking better. That's the equal weighted S&P 500. And that's actually been showing a little bit more power lately. So, some of the big cap techs and the big mega companies have been a little bit slower, but it doesn't look like you can count them out. We've had Meta and a number of other stocks, and I do have a position in Meta. But there are still some of those Mag 7 stocks, Nvidia, Tesla, that have been showing some signs of life.
Yes. Okay, Justin. Well, we missed you there for the review of the ETFs.
I'm
Not
glad
to,
you were able to cover. I
yeah.
was watching on YouTube and you did great.
Okay, good. I'm glad you were watching. I was gonna say, if you have any other just burning thoughts to share about the market action, I was gonna just give you a chance.
No, I think it was great that you got through stuff, and you covered the SMH and everything like that. So well done on your part. I knew we could count on you.
All right. Well, thank you. All right, everyone. That is it from us for today on this show. But coming up at 5 p.m. Eastern, we have our monthly market report video with hedge fund manager Jim Ropel. We are going to talk about the roller coaster month that was September, where we stand now, the stocks that Jim is focused on, and his game plan for the month ahead. So make sure you tune in live on YouTube for that coming up today at 5 p.m. Eastern. And then we'll post that video to investors.com/videos after it's complete. So we will see you then, everyone. And then the Tuesday crew has you covered tomorrow morning on IBD Live. And so we hope to see you there as well, investors.com/IBD Live for all of those details. We'll see you then, everyone. And we'll be back here tomorrow after the close.